Hi everyone and welcome back to DevPortal, your go-to channel for mastering tech concepts. Today we are starting a new series where we will dive into the topics that are commonly asked in the interviews. These tutorials will help you to build a solid foundation and confidently tackle those tricky questions. Today we are starting with an important topic, string builder and string buffer in Java. By the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of their differences, when to use each, and how they will impact the performance of an application. Before we start today's video, let me quickly recap what we have covered so far on DevPortal. We have created a series on OOP in Java, then we have tutorial on exception handling, videos on Java 8 features, then we have created some projects using Java, and then we have recently started SQL tutorial as well using PostgreSQL. This is the one. I have also created GitHub repo for each of the series, completed with notes and code examples as well. This one is for Java, where you will get all the notes, and their tutorials also you will find inside these notes as well. Suppose if I open any of the link, suppose I have opened ;: operator. So these are the notes and you will find the tutorial link as well inside the notes as well. And next one is for your SQL tutorial that we have recently started. So if you open any of the link here as well, you will get the notes and their individual tutorial as well. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please consider subscribing to the channel, giving these repos a star and sharing the content with fellow developers so that it can reach to multiple peoples. Repos link I will give you in the description box, and I have also pinned the individual notes link in their tutorials as well, so you can check it out. So with that, let's start today's video on string builder and string buffer in Java. So first let's start with the string. In Java, string is one of the most commonly used classes. A string represents a sequence of characters and is immutable in nature. What does it mean? That once an object is created, its value cannot be changed when it's come to string. Let me show you one example for that. So if I create one string object here, string str is equal to, suppose I have written dev portal. And now what I will do, I will write here str dot to uppercase. So I will call to uppercase method on string object, and after that I will print this string object as well. If I run this code, so you can see first it is printing the object in uppercase and then it is printing the content what we have saved in the str object. So with this, what we can understand, even though we called to uppercase method, the original string object remains unchanged. This immutability ensures security and thread safety, but it comes at a performance cost as well when performing multiple modifications. When we need to perform a lot of string modifications like appending, deleting or inserting characters, creating new string object repeatedly can lead to inefficiencies in memory. This is where string builder and string buffer comes into the picture. Both are mutable in nature, alternative to the strings. First, we will try to understand what is string builder in Java. String builder is mutable class introduced in Java 5. It allows us to modify strings without creating new object. That is one thing, and making it faster compared to the string when it comes to multiple modification. First, let me show you how we can create object for the string builder. So let me remove this code and I will write here string builder sb is equal to new string builder, and let me keep the content same, that is dev portal. And now I will call one method here sb dot append, and I will append suppose tutorial. Let me save, and now I will call sysout statement and I will print this object. Let me run this code and you can see it is printing dev portal tutorial. Here the append method modifies the same object instead of creating a new object that you can see in the screen. Now let's try to understand what is string buffer. The string buffer is similar to string builder, but it is thread safe in nature. This means it can be safely used in multi-threaded environments. However, this thread safety comes with a slight performance overhead as well, that we will see later in the part of this video. So first let me show you how we can create object for string buffer. In place of string builder, just we need to mention string buffer, and here as well let me copy and let me paste it here. If I run this code, so you can see it is also printing the same content. If you are working in a single threaded environment, then string builder is generally preferred over string buffer for better performance. Now let's try to understand the key differences between string, string builder and string buffer first. When it comes to mutability, then string are always immutable in nature, whereas string builder and string buffer are mutable in nature. If we talk about thread safety, then string and string buffers are thread safe, whereas string builder is not thread safe object. If we talk about performance, then strings are slower for the modification, whereas string builder is faster. If we talk about string buffer, it is slightly slower compared to the string builder because sometimes we are using this in a multi-threaded environment. When it's come to use case, then we can go for string where we have a fixed content or rarely change our content in the object. Then we can go for string builder where frequent modifications are required, and we can go for string buffer where frequent modifications are required with threads. Now we will see one code example where we will analyze the performance of all three objects, that is string, string builder and string buffer. We will see that what we have told that string is slower, that is really correct or not, and we will see the difference between the timing of string buffer and string builder as well. We will find out which one is the faster or quickest and which one is the slowest. So first let me remove this code, and here I will create three objects. First let me create two objects to store the time. What I will do, I will try to modify those objects in a loop and I will see how much time they are taking. So I will create two objects here, start time, to note down the timing of the operations, and end time. And first let me do this for string, and I will create one string object here, str is equal to, suppose I have mentioned Java, and now I will start the time of the operation. Start time is equal to system dot current time milliseconds, and now I will write one for loop and I will run that loop for 10,000 times. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 10,000 times, and I plus plus, and inside this loop I will try to modify the object of the string. So str plus is equal to, suppose I have mentioned dev portal, and now I will find out the end time is equal to system dot current time in milliseconds, and what I will do, I will print this time. So this time is for string time, and I will find out end time minus start time. So with this we come to know that how much time string object took to complete this 10,000 modification. Same thing I will do for string builder and string buffer as well. So let me copy this thing, let me paste it here, let me format this code, and here let me create string builder object first, string builder, and this is the example of string builder. Let me give this a name, sp is equal to new string builder, and this loop will also run 10,000 times, and here I will use append method, sb dot append, and I will keep the content same, that is dev portal, and here I will mention string builder. One thing, let me tell you that I am not interested in what value or content these objects are storing. What I want to know that how much time they are taking to complete this task or operations. So let me copy this, and now let me do this for string buffer as well. Let me format this first, and here I will keep string buffer. Let me copy this name and paste it here, and this will be sbf, and here also I will change it to sbf, and this is the example of string buffer. Let me save and run this code first, and you can see for string it took 299 milliseconds, and for string builder and string buffer it took 1 milliseconds. With this, what we can conclude that strings are slower when it's come to modification compared to string builder and string buffer, and in most of the cases string builder will outperform both string and string buffer unless thread safety is required. So with this we can see that both object of string builder and string buffer are taking same time. Now to identify which one is faster, let me do one thing. Let me increase the count of this loop. So for string builder it is 10,000 times. Let me change it to 10 lakh, and same I will do for string buffer as well. For string it will run 10,000 times because I know string is always slower, or we have already identified string is slower compared to string builder and string buffer. So let me run this code, and you can see for string builder it took 25 milliseconds, and for string buffer it took 45 milliseconds to complete 10 lakh operations. That is modification we are doing in the object. So with this, what we can conclude that string builder is faster compared to the string buffer and string buffer is faster compared to string. This is about the performance. Now let me show you the example for thread safety as well. So first let me remove this code, and what I will do, I will create one more class here. That is, suppose let me create class shared resource, and what I will do here, I will create one object that is private of string buffer, because we know that string buffer are thread safe. So let me give this a name, sb is equal to new string buffer, and let me give this a name, suppose Java. And here I will create one method to append the text. So I will create public void append text, and it will take one string as an argument, text, and I will add that text here, sb.append text, and then I will print this text as well, sb. Not text, I will print the object, that is sb object. And this shared resource I will use in my main method. I will create two threads, T1 and T2, and I will try to access this shared resource object using those threads. So first let me create the object of shared resource. Shared resource is equal to new shared resource. And now let me create two threads. So first let me add comment creating multiple threads. So first one is thread 1, so let me use runnable class here, runnable, that is my task 1, suppose let me give. And what I will do here, let me use lambda first, and inside this I will write for loop that will run, suppose let me run it for 5 times, and I will try to access the object of this resource class. So I will write for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, I plus plus. And now what I'm going to do, I will use this resource object resource, and I will append resource plus, I will call append text here, and let me give this a string, suppose I am giving dev. That is enough I think. And now what I will do, I will keep this thread sleep for 50 milliseconds. So let me write in try catch block. So I will write here thread dot sleep, and it will be 50 milliseconds. And let me catch the exception as well, catch, and it will catch. And let me add here sysout statement, sysout inside thread 1 catch block. And same thing we will do for another thread. So let me create this, or before that let me add semicolon, let me copy, let me paste. This is thread 2 and this is thread 2. Let me change it here as well. And here what I will do, let me change dev to portal so that we can see the difference as well in the text. So I will write thread, that is T1 is equal to new thread, and here I will pass task 1 comma, let me give this thread a name, suppose thread -1. Let me do this again, thread T2 is equal to new thread, and this will take task 2, and name will be thread, suppose thread -2. I think this is fine, and let me do one more thing here. Let me add thread name as well. So what I will do to print the thread name, I will write thread dot get, not get current, thread dot get name, so that we know which thread it is. Let me add colon, and now I will print the object of sp. So I think this is fine what we have done. Okay, one more thing, let me start thread first. T1 dot start, same way T2 dot start. Now it is completed. What we have done, we have created two tasks, task 1 and task 2. Inside task 1 it will run 5 times that loop, and each time whenever that loop will run, it will sleep for 50 milliseconds as well. Same thing we are doing with task 2, and we will identify that string buffer is thread safe or not. So let me run this code first. So you can see here thread 1, thread 2, thread 1, thread 2, it is working in alternate manner, which means that string buffer operations are synchronized in nature. If I change string buffer to string builder, then you can see the difference in the console. So if I change it to string builder, what you will notice that now this alternate behavior will not comes into the console. If I save and run this code now you can see that thread 2 is printing, then thread 1, then again thread 2, then thread 1, thread 2. So there is no synchronization between the threads, or you can see between the operations. So with this, what we can conclude, the output will be consistent and orderly placed because string buffer synchronize its method internally. And when it's come to string builder, data corruption happens because both threads are modifying the string builder object simultaneously. In multi-threaded environment, string buffer ensures thread safety while string builder does not. Now you might be wondering, why does string buffer handle it correctly? String buffer synchronize all its methods, that is append, insert and other methods, allowing only one thread to access the instance of that object at a time. It means only one thread will be able to access the object at a time, whereas string builder does not synchronize its method. So multiple threads can access it and modifying the object simultaneously, causing race condition. When it's come to best practice, go for string where constants are required or rarely modification you need on the object. Use string builder for a single threaded application where required more frequent modification on the string object, and go for string buffer for multi-threaded environments where modifications are also required. To wrap up, strings are mutable in nature with thread safety is there but slower for modifications. String builder is mutable and faster for single threaded environment, and string buffer is mutable and thread safe as well, suitable for multi-threaded environments. Choose the right one based on your specific use case. That's it for today's video. If you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Dev Portal and hit the bell icon to stay updated with us. Have any questions or suggestions, please drop them in the comments below. I will read, and until next time, happy coding.